Hey, a good Friday out there to everybody in YouTube. We're bringing back the 80s. And I'm not sure if they wrote this for this purpose, but I think this may have been the idea where it came from. Just get to get more and almost a hack job. But is what it is. I got a stand in clock that comes in there and make a good slideshow of it. Let's talk about just stick to their role and do science stuff instead of trying to determine who's getting ready to push the button. But so that was a good way to start off the day. It came out. That was yesterday's article, right? I saw it. Yeah, yesterday afternoon came out. So we're closer to the apocalypse, according to scientists who have this vast foreign policy ability to divine who's closer to pushing the button. It's like having liberal arts majors do foreign policy, having liberal arts majors do scientific study and climate change. Okay. Thanks for joining us, people. Thanks for joining us for this Friday morning. Seeing what make the rundown, see what's going down, which seemed pretty quiet for the most part. Couple of significant articles just to hit up, and to go along with that on that article. And I don't know if it's going to pop up now or if I can find it because it was yesterday afternoon. But to go along with the apocalypse warning from them, our good buddy George Soros pops out of the woodwork and chimes in that he's afraid we're going to get into nuclear war because of Trump. Rah, rah. Like, what's changed? People really think, I mean, it makes you sigh. Using people to divide and distract. That's all I can think I can say about that. But let's go to the chat room real quick, Mr. M. Long, 5150. How you doing out there? Lazy. Are you the 51st viewer? Is that where that came? 51, Miss M. Long? Oh, you're just calling yourself 51 because that's your number. Okay, I think I get it. It was a joke. And getting closer to doom. Barry, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a nuclear apocalypse. I guess we're closer, but it has not. It's not like you're going to be able to stop it. It's not like those scientists know what they're talking about either, though. So thanks for joining us out there, guys. But there's a story in here about George Soros chiming in on that same issue. It was in CNBC yesterday, and it might be kind of hard to dig up because it usually gets buried fairly fast once the market opens up the next day. But you could probably search for it, Soros comments nuclear war or something like that. And there you go. We didn't get too far at all. Trump, it's Trump's fault. Set us on a course for nuclear war. It has nothing to do with Soros at all. He's not involved. Said the president's place in the world is temporary and will likely disappear in 2020 or even sooner. Somebody didn't edit that article properly. It's temporary. It's always good to have multi-billionaires that are destroying the world chime in on how the president's going to start nuclear war. It's always a good hot take for you and your friends to get in on. Everybody wants to hear that. Everybody got me 5x5 out there. I think I'm still running at a high rate out there, so hopefully there's no interruptions for the most part, or nothing significant like it has been. If I crack the code here. Yeah, it does appear that science. I mean, since Al Gore declared the world would be free of ice caps by now, I mean, or by 2025 or something, but no polar bears would exist. You know, science has definitely been manipulated for decades on the, as you say, more for entertainment than real science. So Trump is in Switzerland with Davos, which means I would imagine Soros is probably there as well. And Soros is worried about a mafia state being created by Trump that suppresses individual rights. Wait, wait. Isn't little George Soros the same guy that worked for the SS during World War II? Same guy, right? I'm just, just throwing that out there. He said he kind of enjoyed the job too, I believe. 60 Minutes interview. Yeah. Oh, we all love George. He's good for a minute, for a good. Oh, and we got to a new Dow record. We're kind of getting off track on our news as we try to track down George Soros, but it looks like we're on a new record for the Dow starting off the morning, like the 12th record in a since Trump's been president. Everybody likes to point that out, but again, you got to go to the why. It's not like all this money's been made in the last year and then dumped in the market to buy shares of companies. It's pretty much been placed on the sideline to avoid taxation. I guess you could say that. So the tax policies might have a lot to do with this. Might be more of the angle I would take than any actual economic activity. So we'll see how it goes, but only the people that invest that stuff know where the money's coming from to back up such a rise. I mean, we've been on the uphill trend since 2010, pretty much, at a rate that doesn't match what most of us are living, I would say. Let's go back over to the news real quick, see if anything else pops out. Anybody out in the chat got anything in their area they'd like to bring up? Please do so. We'll run down a story or just chit chat about it as well. The FBI texts have been located. Secret meetings after and not going in on Hillary because she might be the next president and all kinds of interesting stuff. That's not the FBI of J. Edgar Hoover, is it? Or is it one and the same? Oh, people forget so quickly, or we just never learned so quickly. We just didn't learn how bad it was, and it hasn't gotten any. It never got rectified. So yeah, the text messages ordeal should be easy to follow for most of you out there. It's all over the news. It's not going away. Oh, here's a list of worst states to live in. That's usually politically motivated, depending on who does the. Oh, it's from the Daily Mail. Oh, whoa! It says Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Illinois, worst states. That might actually be a legitimate concern. Usually, they base it on all the factors that are just people choosing the way they want to live, and uh, and not how the government is running people's lives. So let's click in on this real quick. It's a British article. Well, it'd be interesting to use if it's a British study. I don't I don't really care much for the British coming into our business, but it'd be amusing. So they base it on health. It looks like who did this. It's a Gallup survey, so it's kind of hard. So Illinois mule, get out of Illinois ASAP. We've been telling him that for years, and he's been working on it, but it's tough. I guess Montana wasn't available for data. Montana's a great place. Why wouldn't you want to live there? People the most satisfied: Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Texas, North Dakota, Minnesota. I mean, New Hampshire's a little too close to the chaos of Boston and everything for my taste. Maine's not much further away, but nice places overall. Just a little close to the madness. Kind of like I'm almost a little too close to the madness of San Francisco from here. 300 miles is not nearly far enough away. You know what I'm saying? So that's an interesting article. Yeah, didn't expect to see that this morning. I always like to see the slant they give. So this is a survey of actual residents and seeing how they feel about where they live. It's different than they usually go in there and they're like, oh, you have horrible schools, people smoke too much, people drink too much coffee, people don't get enough outdoors time, yada yada. They have all these weird numbers and they use to run down states. Usually when they do type of surveys, they run down a lot of the southern states, it seems like, because of the way, people eat high fat foods and stuff, and they use it to go after them. And there's no union laws. It's all right to work states. They don't like right to work states either. I guess there was an article. I saw an article yesterday about the Ring of Fire, and here's 3 articles up on the side of Drudge about the earthquakes and the Ring of Fire and the all the different possible disaster scenarios, I guess you'd say. There was one yesterday about the Mount Hood a couple days ago, so they're raising that concern with all these earthquakes going on. That one in Alaska was definitely significant and in the Ring of Fire area. Snowing on the east side of Washington, Barry, okay. Out in the high desert as well. And along it's 60s in Kentucky and raining. Winter weather, typical, right? Speaking of weather, let's click over there. Pretty clear for the most part. We got to let a little bit run through last night. We didn't get nothing. They said possibly 2 inches of snow on the valley floor, and it's like, yeah, no. But the mountains are getting snow, which is good. It looks like I got a little rain through Missouri and northern Arkansas, the Ozarks out there. And yeah, the Seattle area is getting water, and the mountains, Cascades are getting snow. That's good. North Rockies getting snow. East Coast looks clear. And the top half of the Weather Channel is not filled with politics today, so that's good. Talking about the eclipse, which is I'm not sure how that affects the weather, but you're looking for the weather, you see the moon. I guess it's part of the same system. It can affect the tides and stuff. But no huge storms, it doesn't look like, for the most part, coming through anytime soon. Back on the economic front, records on the Dow. Commodities, hey, that's back below 66 from yesterday, it looks like. Bonds have stalled around the 2.6 range, 2.6 and a half. They jumped up quite a bit over the last 8 months or so. Davos is kind of the big thing. They're talking about all these rich people getting together in Switzerland. So speaking of the economy, article up yesterday about the imploding of the Puerto Rican economy. And I thought the Puerto Rican economy was pretty much wrecked before the hurricane even hit. I mean, they were talking about being short and not meeting their requirements and all their debts and everything else. back before it was cool, and then the hurricane hit, and they're really bad off. Where did I see that article? Puerto Rico is in bad shape. I don't know if it was on CNBC or Drudge. I'm not sure which one it was, but it was hemming and hawing. A lot of it tries to. People are trying to blame Trump for the storm and etc. Not mismanagement in the decades beforehand. Yeah, it was Drudge, but you can go check that out. Government to solve the problem. There's been a mass exodus of Puerto Ricans out of the country, going to Florida, New York, etc. Live with relatives, similar to what happened in New Orleans after Katrina. Really, I don't think it's quite as big because it's not as quite as big as required, but places still don't have electricity. People aren't able to rebuild. It's pretty much a big disaster still after the disaster. All right, we'll find that article if you want to look in on Puerto Rico and kind of that story. You should be able to Google it and look it up. Probably more than one out there. Let me move on though to the madness that is the state of California. When you want to see how far the nanny state and the I don't know, they got to have money for something because all their tax money's leaving. They want to fine waiters $1,000 for giving you a straw because you didn't ask for it. This is how insane that state is getting, and I don't know how people put up. I don't know why Sacramento hasn't been sacked. You know, salt the earth in Sacramento. Treat it like Carthage. So, under the law, a waiter who serves a drink with an unrequested straw in it would face up to 6 months in jail and a fine of $1,000. And what's funny is this came because of a kid's misread research project. This is all because of an article that came out that people were using too many plastic straws. But there was a misquote, and here's the quote of the article. CNN from articles from CNN all the way up to San Francisco Chronicle unfailingly state that Americans use 500 million plastic straws a day, many of them ending up in waterways and oceans. The 500 million figure is often attributed to the National Park Service. It in turn got it from the recycling company EcoCycle. Moving on to the next paragraph. EcoCycle is unable to provide any data to back up this number, telling Reason it was relying on the research of one Milo Kress. Kress, whose beef straw free campaign is hosted on EcoCycle's website, tells Reason he arrived at the 500 million straws a day figure from phone surveys he conducted of straw manufacturers in 2011 when he was 9 years old. So they're relying on 7-year-old research by a 9-year-old to make law. Oh my goodness. So everybody in America uses at least one straw a day, and a lot of people use two apparently for that number to even get close to being right. I don't know how that's possible. I mean, you go to fast food, they give you a straw usually, but how many of us, eat? I mean, it's a bizarre number. I don't know where they get it from. It's pretty funny. Check that out, California. I feel sorry for you, my brothers. If you can't get Sacramento out of the way, burn it down. Is there any other option when they're doing stuff like this? And there's also talks in California and other what we would call blue states of finding ways to wrap up that federal tax money that you're getting tax relief money that you're getting, and they're going to tax you more so that they get those taxes. They don't want to. So since you're not sending them to DC, we're going to take them. It's like the mob's little henchman. The main guy stops hitting you up, and then his little guy comes in behind and like, "Oh, but I'm going to take that. I'm taking that cut." Ridiculous. Ridiculous. We're at about 10 minutes to go. Any more stories out there in the chat room to share? Looks like we slowed down after the weather. You guys drinking your coffee or what? The ATF bump stock comment period is over as of last night, I believe. We'll see how that shakes out. Lots of YouTube videos came out about that, and the Gun Owners of America did a good one, and clearly stating it's not about the bump stock, it's about the restrictions on government. Restrictions on government said you can't make this law, so pack sand. That's the way I would say it, I guess. But yeah, that's over. So we'll see how the ATF takes all their comments they got and tries to manipulate it. Make sure you're checking out the cards in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Checking out some other channels on YouTube you may not have heard of, may enjoy. I recommend them. So Trump came out yesterday with the deal for $1.8 million get amnesty under his negotiated deal with what's his name, Chucky Schumer. So it wasn't the 800,000 we heard about. That was what they were him and hawing about. 1.8 million is what Trump's agreeing to. Yeah, this is bad. 1.8 million. It's more than twice the number that's under the DACA bill that originally would have been protected, I guess you'd say. And 25 billion for a border wall, which I'm telling you, people, won't get built. So just throwing that out there. It's shenanigans. Shenanigans. All right, M. Long, yeah, that kid that shut up that Kentucky high school, they want to try. I think trying him as an adult would be a slam dunk. I don't know how that's even not. I mean, that should be fine, right? Is that a problem? Is there any controversy in that statement out there? I don't know why would people not do that, but situation might be different than I'm reading it. So I think that wraps up my review and kind of some of the things I wanted to hit. Nothing locally coming up. Tony did a Nevada news chat yesterday. Tacticals Tony 702 for those of you that don't know him, out of Vegas. But there's really not a whole lot other than we need more snow and just small feel-good stories outside of the national stuff. There is a story that Tony talked about if you're in the West or in Vegas. Why all these no comments, no controversy about the shooting for the kid getting tried as an adult? Is that what that no means? No controversy? I got 2 no's in the side chat, and I'm confused. I didn't know we were voting. Can I get a yay vote? And our online news sources locally usually aren't very easily updated until after everybody gets to work at 8 anyway. So this stuff will probably I'll click over here in about an hour and a half or so. I usually go to Twitter and see if anything's popped up in the night. But yeah, the weather didn't come in nearly as hard as I expected, and we're just riding the rest of it out till the weekend. It looks like they got about 6 inches out of this storm up in the mountains. It looks like from the last night, and they had another foot the night before that. So good stuff for the mountains and ski resorts, snowshoers, all that stuff. Oh, day in history. This is the day Audie Murphy jumped upon that tank and took out all those Germans. That was on the military history tweet earlier. It's always a good flashback, something like that. We will be following a story up here. A large Bitcoin server company, people that are invested in blockchain, bought a bunch of industrial land up here in the Tahoe Regional Industrial Center. Something like 67,000 acres or something like that. So it's pretty much bought out now. They might be using it as an investment, or they could be trying to build a server farm for Bitcoin. I don't know, or for blockchain type assets. I compare it to if that's what they do, it's going to be the Fort Knox of Bitcoin, of blockchain. But we'll see how far that goes or what that's really for. All they've done now is they bought the land, so it's going to be interesting to see how that develops moving forward. But thanks everybody on the side for coming check us out. Yeah, M. Long, I figured you'd be good with him being tried as an adult. I didn't know if it was controversial or not. Seemed pretty straightforward when you hear about the case. But thanks to M. Long, Barry Wood out there in the side chat. And I guess we'll wrap it up. Hope you all have a good day. We'll see you tonight for a live chat. Started about 2000. That's 8 p.m. Pacific. All you on the East Coast, you'll probably be in bed. And then we do the extended morning brief on Saturday morning, 45 minutes or so, just kind of kick back, more laid back approach. And have a good day. Live free.